When you're moving forward, you cannot look back. Everything you see is an illusion. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Help when you can. Give when you can. Smile when you can. Cry when you can. Darkness is temporary. A bad mood can't win the light.
Pisa na wewe wazangie lela na wazana mawae kasiko pesa mokongote munana ngaye anana na 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 aye ye mawae
Good evening, friends. Welcome to Drizzles of Joy. I'm quite excited for you to be joining us today, and today is yet another day, and I'm looking forward to have a conversation with you. And I'm not flying alone. I'm also flying with my co-host. My name is Winnie Mohodzi, and I'm with my co-host Sizwe Mahlangu. Welcome, Sizwe. Say hi to our listeners, to our viewers. I think you're muted, Sizwe. It looks like we can't hear Sizwe. We'll try and get him back. His audio is not coming through. But welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to be having this conversation this evening. I'm quite excited because as we celebrate women, it's a lovely day. It's a lovely month. The Lord has been good to us, and really, I want to thank God for today. I want to thank God for this month. I want to thank Him for His grace upon all of us. And today we are really, really, really excited to be hosting this beautiful young lady. And I believe that she will inspire you as she shares her story with us as we try and get our Caesar back on. I'm going to introduce our guest for today. Her name is Surprise. And then we will go back to Caesar. Welcome, Surprise. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are truly humbled to have you, and I believe that you will have lots of fun with us on Drizzles of Joy. Welcome, Sizwe. Are you back? Sizwe, are you back?
I am back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yes, you
Good
can.
evening to all our viewers at home. Good evening, surprise.
Good evening, Sizwe.
All right. So, I mean, I think I really loved our opening intro today, Mamruti. That was so great, coming up with all the fun facts about women. I didn't know, well, some of the answers. I knew most of them. So, I hope our viewers at home had fun with it as well. We're looking forward to a great show as we profile this wonderful lady. I'm sure who would easily fit into some of the names that we gave. So, we look forward to hearing more from Surprise. Over back to you, Mamruti.
Thank you, Caesar. Welcome as well. I'm quite excited for this day because we've got a very special young lady, and I think her story is going to inspire us. As we start, I just want to give you some time, surprise, just to give us a little bit of a background about yourself, and we will take it from there.
Okay. I'm a Durban-born girl. Grew up in Joburg, and yeah, explored most of my adult life or teenage and young adult life, and yeah, in Joburg. So I have been um, I have been studying. Okay, let me start with just to give you a background of how I actually got to love business. I was staying with my aunt, and she was, we used to struggle a lot, and there were times where we didn't have food, and she started a business, and a business just as puzzle shop, and that started in the kitchen. And I saw her passion, waking up in the morning, praying before opening up the business. And I saw the power, her passion and the power that came with with loving, trusting God for the success of the business. And I saw the business growing from, the kitchen spreading to the lounge. And we eventually had some of the things being stored in our bedrooms, and I saw her even buying her first car from that small business. And for me, it was something exciting because I used to actually help her and work in this puzzle shop to make sure I see how the business goes. So when I went to tertiary, I was studying chemical engineering, and I thought to myself, I was going to study and work for maybe 5 years, and then after 5 years, then I can start my own business. So when I was doing S4, I had friends that were doing civil engineering, and they introduced me into the civil engineering industry. They actually saw passion. I mean, they saw potential in me that I didn't see at that time. And, that drive they had, I remember the night when we went out when they sold the idea to me, they wanted me to join them in the business. I came back excited. It was like they ignited something I didn't even realize that it was there in me. And after that, the year ended. The following year, I was looking for in-service training, and I didn't have in-service training. And then I realized I had to do something with my life. And I decided to actually move to Tzaneen, where the offices were based. And during that time, in the 4 months, actually, that I stayed in Tzaneen, it was where the passion for construction started. It grew. I saw women that you couldn't even, think that they can, they had that potential to make it in life. Old women, that you wouldn't realize they were actually making money. And we would go to the bank and you'd see them in the bulk teller queues. And that got me excited. I started wanting more. And so I decided to come back from Tzaneen. I left the partners there and I decided to come back to Joburg. And when I came back to Joburg, the passion was there. I couldn't stop talking about construction. I remember I came back and sold the idea to my sister and another friend of mine that we needed to start a company. And I remember I used to, go out and look for information and ask for who is like people that are contractors around in my streets. I used to go and knock in this old gentleman's house that I knew that he was in construction, and I'd ask him questions, and sometimes he wouldn't be able to answer me. And I came back, and I couldn't stop. I went and told even the people at the municipality that I was like I was having this passion for construction, and so they because they knew, they saw the passion that I had for construction, so they would, whenever opportunities would come, they would always think of me. I remember there was one opportunity that came. It was a skills development training for young people in the township, and they actually called me in, and it was for bricklaying, carpentry, and plastering. And I remember I actually did bricklaying. I chose bricklaying, and I did. I was one of the best bricklayers in my group. And when I was doing bricklaying, for me, because I had passion to actually own my own construction company, I wasn't doing bricklaying to be a bricklayer. I used to look at people when they were talking about them laying bricks in other buildings for other people, and for me, that wasn't the case. It was not an easy journey, if I can say. I remember at that time, with issues of corruption and everything, we were supposed to get a certain stipend for us to travel. And I remember it wasn't easy for me at times to travel to that place. It was not easy. At times I would feel like quitting. But I remember this friend of mine that reminded me that you can't quit. You can't quit. You know what you want. You know why you're doing this. And for me, it was about me laying a foundation. I knew I needed to get somewhere, but in order for me to get there, I needed to get the experience, the necessary experience, because I didn't have it at that time. So yeah, that's just the foundation of where I came from. That skills development training actually opened the next door. And the next door was me getting into a learnership. It was actually very timeless. I finished in August. The next month in September, a learnership was advertised, and I already had a little bit of experience in the industry. And that little bit of experience actually helped me to be part of that empowerment program. I remember they were looking for contractors and supervisors. Looking at the experience, the criteria for contractors was a little bit high. I remember going to an interview with a panel of about 12 people, throwing questions at me, wanting to see if I was actually going to be suitable for this. And that excited me because I got to be part of that. And when I look at the background, when I look at where of how tight that the criteria was, and when we had, I remember when we went for the briefing, we had about 1,000 people in one room wanting to be part of this opportunity. And for me to be one of the 16 people that got to be part of the program, I saw it as God's favor. It was God's favor, honestly. And I think it also goes with its passion and it's God's favor and trusting God all through and through.
Wow.
That's just
That is so
brief of how I started.
No, we will unpack it. We have another 30 minutes to unpack it, and then we'll be able to get more. So, Surprise, what I want to find out, because you said when you started with the construction, you were in Tzaneen, am I right? and that's where you actually started, getting this passion. But you said you saw a lot of women, in this space, and I suppose that probably in Zanin, maybe it was something that was starting to brew, but it was not really popular in Gauteng or whatever the case might be. And how did you find it, having to establish yourself in the construction business within Gauteng?
Okay. So at that time, I think, okay, in Tanin, it wasn't a lot of women. I saw mostly it was older women. I saw, I remember, I don't remember actually seeing a young person doing it. And I think what drove, what was exciting me and my partners, I had two male partners, I was the only female. What excited us was to be the young people in the space of construction. So when I came to Joburg, I realized, okay, the industry was not as easy, it wasn't as easy. Yes, there were a few women that were in the industry, and not really a few, because most women were starting to explore the construction industry as well, because of women empowerment and, and all the opportunities that were opened up for women. I think for me, I think that time that what helped me to push mostly, as difficult as it was to stay focused. When I started, a lot of women were being undermined. Remember, construction is known as a male-dominated industry. And being a male-dominated industry, coming into that space, going to, when you have to be given an opportunity, you actually need to prove yourself. When you compare yourself to a man, you have to work twice as hard for you to actually be recognized and be seen that this person can actually make it. I remember going to some meetings, one meeting where the meeting, I was there in the room. It was me as a contractor, and we had male white old men in the room, and we had some black engineers also in the room. When the meeting was supposed to be starting, the meeting didn't start, and they were asking, where is the contractor? The contractor is late. In their minds, it was a male contractor, and and the engineer said, no, here's the contractor. The contractor is here. We can actually start. And I could see the shock in their faces that, okay, this young woman is going to be handling this project, and how is she going to make it? But despite all of that, what I've realized was it's not really about your physical strength. Remember, as women, we are not as gifted. We're not masculine. We're not masculine. And at that time, I was a size 28. So right now, I'm a 32. But at that time, I was a size 28. Coming into the space, and for me, I had to prove that it's not about how I look on the outside. It's actually about what I can deliver. And I can assure you that when we as women stay focused to what we want to achieve, there is nothing that can stop us. When I was doing projects, right, there were projects that seemed like they are the most difficult. And when people thought because they are more masculine, they deserved such projects, and they didn't think I could actually make it. But I saw the hand of God, and in that He gave me wisdom. When I was driven to start and finish the project, and my goal was to finish the project before the set time. If the project is 4 months, I wanted to finish it in 3 months to actually prove that I can do this. I remember when going to certain, when you're doing trenches at times, when we do trenches, you can't excavate more than 100 meters without laying a pipe. I was doing civil works, so without laying a pipe, and so you have to excavate and wait for the engineer to come and test the ground and make sure that your bedding is okay before you can start laying the pipe. So when I went to meetings, there were times where, I was shocking the engineers, I was shocking the suppliers by when they would be asking, how far are you with your work? I was always ahead. And I know it was not because of my own intelligence. It was because of the God whom I serve. He had always been my inspiration, my strength. Even when projects, even when I went for site inspections, when you trust God, He would actually speak and tell me that pay attention to this because you are going to be working here. So I knew I needed to rely not on my own strength, but rely on Him for me to be able to make it. So I attribute my journey, my construction journey, to God's favor. There were times where I had projects that were difficult. There's one project that had a lot of unforeseen circumstances that were not catered for in the bill of quantities and stuff like that. And I found myself, and I saw that I was actually losing money in the project. And losing money was not, I had to go back to God and cry out to Him to say, Lord, I'm losing money here. I need your divine intervention. I can't do this on my own. And I saw God supernaturally providing another project that supplemented the project that I was doing. That was a project over $1 million that actually helped me to close that gap. So I saw the hand of God in that.
Wow.
And it was never about, I've never been involved in corruption activities. I think that's one of the challenges that I had seen in construction. The construction industry is exciting, and it has its own challenges. And one of the challenges as a Christian is to uphold your integrity in that space.
Amen.
And I've seen that it was not easy for one to stay focused because there are so many temptations. There would be people that are coming to you. At that time, I remember I had a grade 4 CEPE, which means I could tender for like 2 to 4 million. And I remember there were people that would come, like other men that would come and ask to partner with me because of the grading so that they can get work that is of that range. But because of the source of where they would be getting the work or how they would be getting that work, I couldn't. I had to, go back to God, and God said no. And for me to not participate in that, it had its own challenges, because I found myself not having work. I found myself not having projects. And not having projects led me to not making money and losing some assets. So it's upholding your integrity in the industry is not an easy thing. But at the same time, there are us. You when you trust in God, God will always make provision. He will always make a way or a way out. There's always a way out in the situation that you're in. And with all the challenges I've also faced in the industry, losing some assets and everything, it was not an easy thing. It was painful, but I've seen God pulling me through in all those circumstances. I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me, Surprise?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Mamruti, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Continue, Caesar.
All right. So, Surprise, thank you. I think you were giving us a masterclass on your construction journey, and thank you so much. You've taken us down the lows and the highs. So, I mean, we really want to engage with you, and I'm sure we're going to be having some comments and some questions that are going to be coming in from the viewers. If you are watching from home and you are inspired, please join in the discussion. Give us a question, give us a comment, give us a shout out if you do know or surprise, and let us know what you think. So we've got a comment from Omamlora. She says, okay, cool. Oh, Uma, I think it just loosely says Uma Jehovah Volimiyao, Ageko Ozovala. Out of 1,000, one of 16 chosen. Wow. I think that is something spectacular. And we do attribute the grace of God. Surprise, you mentioned something. You mentioned something about being able to people looking at you physically and undermining whether you can do the work or not. Did it ever? I mean, I'm looking at you and thinking, bricklaying. I'm looking at you and thinking, can I just see your nails, your hands, please? Can you really do bricklaying even today? Did it ever get you down that people look down on you and thinking, but this girl, is it possible? What did it do in just a short answer? What did it do to you emotionally and psychologically?
Sure. For me, it wasn't. It didn't pull me down. I think there were a lot of. I was very much driven in the industry, and I still am. I think as a person, as a business person, I'm just driven. I don't see. For me, there are no limits. For me, I believe that when given an opportunity, whether it's employment opportunity, whatever opportunity I'm given, I need to give it my all. I need to prove myself, and I need to make sure that I don't. If a supplier gives me work, I perform to the best of my ability with excellence, that I don't give them a reason not to give me more work. If I'm working, I am working that when my employer thinks about losing me, they must have headache. I must be the last person you're thinking of retrenching if I'm employed. I must be the last person you're thinking of not giving work if I am given an opportunity. So every opportunity comes to me. There were a lot of things that were bringing excitement to me. I thought, I don't know, there were, a lot of things that were inspiring me to push forward and to see that it's not. So I think it was just, for me, it was not about me. It was about the God whom I serve, who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that I can think. It was just beyond me, beyond my mental capacity, because I have seen God creating portfolios for me to be recognized, or platforms for me to be recognized. I remember in 2009, I had people coming to evaluate my work, and the CIDP Women in Construction Awards were starting at the time, and recognition of women in construction, the Excellence Awards, they are still there. Actually, in this month as well, they're busy with that. I saw God opening platforms for recognition. There was a portfolio that was not the EPWP portfolio. When we were having discussions, it wasn't there. But by the grace of God, that portfolio was created. for me to get the recognition. I found myself winning the Women in
Sure.
Construction Awards 2009 in Gauteng. The following year, in 2010, I got a Women in Construction Award under EPWP category nationally. It was all God's favor.
Wow.
It was exciting, guys. It was exciting because I knew it's not me, it's the God whom I serve who is just doing
Yes.
his thing. He's opening doors. Uh, he's making sure that when people despise me, I remember, it's exciting to be in Christ. Before my first project, I was in a women's camp, and this lady, some white lady who was there, who was a prophet, very accurate, prophesied that the Lord was about to surprise me. People are going to be surprised, and he's going to, like following my name, people are going to be surprised that what God is going to do, that people would not believe that I can actually do the thing. And it was completely, for me, it didn't make sense. What exactly is God going to be doing? Until a couple of months later, I saw the fulfillment of that prophecy. I saw God opening doors after doors. I saw, so I'm saying every business person, if you are given an opportunity, like to know about Christ, go draw yourself close to Him, know the God whom you serve, dedicate yourself completely. There are certain things that are beyond your ability. Favor is not fair. Sometimes God would actually promote you in a way that would not make sense to people. I've seen that several times. That it's not really about, for me, it's not about the way, how intelligent you are or how educated you are. It's not about your education. Yes, I'm not discouraging education is good, but it's not about, if you're relying more on your strength and your education, on how much you can do, you are actually limiting God on what He can do in your life.
Wow. I like the fact that, you're a child of God, Surprise, and everything that you say, it's all around, how to appreciate the things that God does for us. And I've got, I think there's a question here from Tumelo Bluma Sedi. Welcome to our viewers. We're quite excited that you're here. Please engage with us. Our time is running out. But I believe that, we will get a time to be able to give some few questions to Surprise before we close this off. So Blue Mercedes says, most of the time men partner with women for access because of BBBEE system. When you look back, do you feel like the gents that you partnered with you for that reason? And then another question, maybe to add on that, is that I want to ask you is that, obviously seeing the things that you've been through, how God has pulled through for you, what were the biggest challenges that you came across, and how did you manage to come out, out of them and, still being able to continue doing business?
Okay. All right. I think when talking about partnership, yes, men partner with women for BEE status. When when I started, I told you I had two gentlemen who saw potential in me, but in their minds they wanted to use me for them to get more points, and I was aware of that. So it also depends on how you view the opportunity. you can view the opportunity for you just to be used, or you can be part of the journey for you, for your own benefit. You can accept an opportunity for you to be part of that, with not just with a mind of sitting back and expect to be used. How do you make yourself an asset in that opportunity? If that opportunity comes, if that opportunity comes, how do you then make yourself an asset in that? So one of the things it's not like the first thing. It's not like when it's about just.
Wow, it looks like we've lost her. Hopefully, she'll come back. But it's quite interesting to actually see that, many a times in businesses, especially in these kind of businesses like the construction businesses and that, we always have these challenges whereby, men buy into women's ideas to be able to achieve the BEE status. But I believe that where we find ourselves, we should be able to make it a point that we shine. And one thing that I like about Surprise is that you have pushed yourself to shine even in the most difficult situation. You can continue, Surprise.
Okay. So I was saying, when women, when you get an opportunity like that, it also depends on how you are using it. Are you just going to sit back and expect to receive a salary, or are you or at the end of the month, or you're just going to let things go and you don't even know what is happening in the business? I think it is important that you push yourself to understand what you get yourself into, to not to be just a passive receiver, or a passive person just because it's BEE status. If you enter into such a thing, just make sure that you put yourself to understand the industry, put yourself to understand where your name is, because at the end of the day, if you put your name in that, should anything happen into the company, you're also liable. So it's important that somehow find a way of equipping yourself and knowing more about what is happening, on not just be passive. Well, I was saying, it's not just about women. I remember when I was exposed to people, big companies, white dominated companies that had black people as partners, just for them to get points. And they would be happy just to be passive and just receiving little, because you're not even getting much, you're getting a portion. They're receiving a set salary at the end of the month. And at that time, I would think, wow, so much money. But when I got exposed to the industry, I realized that not knowing what you get yourself into is bad. Those people, they had been in the construction industry for a long time, but they didn't have the knowledge of the industry. It is important to understand the industry. It is important to equip yourself. There's so many people that are in business, in the construction industry. They don't know how to they don't know how to compute the bill of quantities. They don't know how to do their own program. They don't know they don't know the registration with CIPC. They don't know registration with CIPC. Always paying other people. I know there's people with businesses for registering companies and stuff like that, but it's important for you to know where you are. Don't rely on other people. And that's what I've learned as a secret. that I needed to understand when we're speaking about general conditions of contracts, we call it the construction Bible, you know, I needed to understand what the contract is about, understand, read and understand what is happening. How
Wow.
do you do, not just sit and expect to pay service providers. But no, when you are in the boardroom and people are speaking about the program, you are not bringing something that somebody else just did it for you and you can't even interpret. When you say to me, I needed to update my program, I knew what you're talking about because I did the Gantt chart myself. I know what it means. So it's important that don't just get yourself in the space and not equip yourself. I know
Wow,
a
thank you.
lot of people. I've
Yes.
heard. I've heard. Sorry, ma'am. I've heard a lot of people over the years. I think 2017, early 2017, where I was equipping just young people in the business, and they wanted to be in the construction industry. And wanting to be in the construction industry, you need to also determine what is the motive. Is it just about money that you want to be in the industry, or is it also about passion? Obviously, we all want to make money. When you start a business, you want to make money, right? But getting into something just because you want money and not understanding the ins and outs of the industry is also dangerous, because it means that you will always lose money. It means that you can find yourself one day not being able to do work, and you receive money today, a bulk of money. You go and buy a Mercedes Benz and you don't finish your project. We've had a lot of those stories where people have been given tenders, but they are not able to deliver because they went and bought a Mac, and then the next thing, suppliers are not paid, the project is not finished. The next thing, they're in debt. So it- your priorities are also important.
Wow.
You
Thank you,
spoke,
Surprise. We're running out.
there was
We're actually running out of
okay.
time, but we're going to wrap this a little bit. I'm gonna quickly read some few comments here, and then we're gonna wrap up. Palisa says it depends on how you view the opportunity. Caesar, do you want to read that one?
I can't see the comments on my side yet.
Okay, that's fine. Let me read it. It says, how do you deal with family requests, as most of the time when you are in construction, you are perceived to be rich? We'll go to that one. And then the last comment is Palisa again saying it is important to understand that the industry and to understand the industry and equip yourself. Thanks, Sisi. We have run out of time. We only have 2 minutes to wrap up. But I just want to say thank you. I'm going to give to Caesar to wrap up the show and maybe ask the last question and ask you to wrap up. Thank you so much. We really appreciate everything that you have shared with us. You were transparent with us, and you gave so much information that shame the time that we had didn't even allow us to get through everything. Over to you, Caesar.
Thank you so much. As we do wrap up, Surprise, we also just really do want to appreciate you for sharing some of your knowledge. And I think we'll have you on the show again on another platform. But what would be your 1 minute word of encouragement to women in business as we are nearing the end of women's? What is your 1 minute word of encouragement to the woman?
You can do it. There is no limit. Do not judge yourself because of your strength, of your physical strength. You can do it as long as you are determined, as long as you are willing. Be willing to get your hands dirty, and get to know and understand all the nitty-gritties. Do not limit your potential. You can do it. Actually, this goes to not just women in construction, but any business. If you put your mind into it, you can't be limited. You can do it.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Surprise.
thank you so much. Mm. Thank you, Mamruti. We can hand
Thank
over
you.
back to you. Thank you to all our viewers who've been watching. And yeah, I hope you learned something from Surprise. We will have you on in another platform. Over to you, Mamruti.
Thank you, Sizwe. Thank you, Surprise. And we are really thankful to all of you, our viewers. We trust that you have learned today. It's quite exciting to be engaging with, all of you. And thank you for sending your engagements. We really, really appreciate. And as we continue with Women's Month next week, we'll be having 2 women as we wrap up this Women's Month. But I want to keep you hanging because it's going to be a very exciting and entertaining Monday. Join us on Monday as we have these 2 beautiful women that are going to be joining us. It's a surprise. Keep yourself watching for the invite, and I look forward to engaging with you again next week. And have a blessed night as we continue in this month. And to all the women, Viva Amandla, to all the beautiful women. And I trust that you are enjoying your month as you've been pampered with all this beautiful information. May the good Lord do you good, and good night.
When you're moving forward, you cannot look back. Everything you see is an illusion. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Help when you can. Give when you can.